Welcome to Dexion the Gamer. Get ready for epic gameplay, pro tips, and non-stop action. Subscribe now and level up.
What's up, guys? This is Dexion the Gamer, and I'm back after a long hiatus. And I'm here today on this Christmas day of 2025. I'm wishing all you guys Merry Christmas as well. I'm going to just go over some settings that I use on the RTX 5090. I do have an RTX 5090 now instead of the 5080. I wound up just transferring or changing up to the 5090 because I just wanted to be content for as long as possible. And I basically have just been trading up graphics cards since the 1070 from a couple years ago. So I never really had to pay full price for any graphics card since then. And that's just how I've been doing it. So without further ado, I'm gonna go over this setup here. This is the Gigabyte Aorus Master Ice, and I am using a cable mod 12V2X6 cable. Snagged that off of Amazon for about 30 bucks, and I really do have some good things to report about that cable. It is very sturdy. It does look very nice inside the case here, and also it is a cable that is a 90-degree angle cable. The problems were the 90-degree angle adapters. The adapters are where you take another cable, plug it into an adapter, and then plug the adapter into your GPU. Those were causing issues. Those were just melting left and right because obviously there's some kind of resistance problems with those adapters. But with the 90-degree angle cables, this is probably going to be the best way that you can comfortably and securely plug in that 12V2X6 cable, because the wires are not being tugged in another direction directly after the connector harness. So that means it's not slightly bending a pin inside or slightly trying to exert pressure on coming out. It's a very tight fit. It snaps into place on both ends on the GPU and PSU. And again, the PSU I use is a NZXT Gold C1000. Very good power supply, no issues with it. And so without further ado, we're going to get into some undervolt settings for the 5090 and also my sweet spot for efficiency while I am gaming. So let's get into it. Alright, so now we got MSI Afterburner here. This is just the latest version of MSI Afterburner that is available to download. I think it is the beta if I'm not mistaken. And so these are basically your idle system specs here. I'm using the latest drivers, which as of today is 591.59. And basically what you want to do now, I know there are some videos out there on YouTube that tell you to use the curve optimizer for your voltage, and you just highlight one number and you hold down shift and then you just raise it kind of like this. But I'm not going to do it that way. So what I am going to be doing for voltage is, first I'll just say this: idle voltage is at about 800. If you can see that right here, it's about 800 millivolts. So once you start getting past 800 millivolts, that's when you're basically doing any kind of load on the system. So what I do is I highlight everything that is at 810 right here and up to your target voltage. Mine is 925. 925 is where I found to have the best combination of stability as well as temperature, power draw, and everything else. You can probably get away with a little bit lower if you have some S-tier silicon, but for the vast majority out there on the GP202 chips, you're going to want to use that. Now I'm just going to come out so I can show you exactly how to do this. So open the curve optimizer by hitting Control F, or if you have this skin here, curve optimizer button here. Alright, so once you're in the curve optimizer, you want to locate where it's 910. So 810. So that's 810 millivolts right here. Go a little bit before that, hold shift, and then you want to drag your mouse over to just past 925. and this is 925 right here. So then you click on 925 and you're going to drag this part of the voltage curve up. So the sweet spot that I've found is 2820 megahertz, as you can see right here. So once you're done with that, double click off of that. Then what you want to do is flatten the curve. So highlight every part after 0.925, click on this point here, just drag it all the way down so it's below this point, and then you simply just hit apply. And that's going to flatten your curve, giving you a nice undervolt. That's it. Simple as that, right? And the second thing you want to do is you want to take the memory clock here and just give it a 2000 megahertz overclock. That's very simple on the G7 RAM. It could actually take more than that, but I always like to leave a little bit of room for stability. Depending on your silicon lottery, you never know. So I've been at these settings for the past 2 months, and I've been testing it in different games. Never given me an issue. It's always very stable. No frame spikes or artifacts or anything else like that. So I already have that profile saved. Once you're done with this, you can come out and you can just pick a profile to save it as. Let's see if you wanted to save and on profile 5, you can do that. You hit that save button down here, or if your skin looks different, whatever your save option is, and just select the profile. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go into the game and show what the results are of this undervolt, and then I'm going to go over my efficiency settings, which basically is my settings for stable gameplay, smooth gameplay, cool temperatures, and everything else. Also worth noting, I do have a slight undervolt on my 9800 X3D. So you just go into BIOS or in Ryzen Master on that one if you have the X3D chips, and I just did a 15 core negative offset on all cores, and the motherboard limits for voltage, as well as the scalar at auto. And so basically I just gave it a 75 megahertz overclock just to edge it out to 5.3 gigahertz while it's running, and temps also went down on that as well. Lost about 5 Celsius on temperatures once it's compiling shaders, and I'll show you that in a moment. Also really quickly wanted to mention, if you go over to the Epic Game Store right now, the Callisto protocol is available for free, and Epic Games has this thing where they run a free game I think it's every week, every Thursday. So I was able to get another game before for free. I also got Hogwarts Legacy was available for free not too long ago. So I think this is a good option for those of you guys out there that don't want to pay for games, and you just want to take your time, collect some free stuff. And you can get Callisto Protocol for free right now. And this is lasting for another, I think, day as of this recording. And another game will be available tomorrow for free. All right, so let's get into some gaming so we can see what kind of statistics we get with our undervolt. All right, so I am just looking at this right now because I want you guys to see what kind of temperature I'm getting on the 9800 X3D while I'm compiling shaders. So this is a fresh installation of the drivers, and this is why the CPU is going nuts right here at 100%. So yeah, it's about 72 Celsius, 70, I think 73. Before I was doing 75, 76, 77. So, between 3 to 5 Celsius drop there, while I was able to bump it up to 5.3 gigahertz even. So that's great to see. And we're just going to continue on here to the rest of the episode. All right, so in this test here, we're going to be going over our graphics settings. So I am using 4K. And using DLSS quality, and I'm going to just set it to DLAA to start off. Frame gen is going to be off for the moment, and Nvidia reflex is going to be on. Global preset is going to be very high. This is the newest version of the game that's supposed to have an even higher global preset of fidelity and image settings, so we just put everything there to very high, and no need to Oh, actually, it looks like you don't get everything by default. Oh, okay. So it's standard, low, medium, high. So some of the settings went from high to very high. So that's basically how that works. Okay, so that's it. We're gonna go into a game, and I think I'm gonna select a chapter here. Let's see. I'll select this one. It's got some extra colors. Yeah, we'll load up this one here. Okay, so I have a 4K 160 hertz monitor. As you can see in the menu screen, it was locked to 160 hertz, 160 frames a second. And typically, what you want to see out of a decent game is this. This is basically stock performance. Don't know why my latency counter is not working, but I know it would be great if it can. Maybe I have to activate frame gen to see the numbers here. But anyway, this is what you should see on an Unreal Engine 5 game with, ray tracing and everything else. You should see about 50 frames a second here. If it's not getting you that much at 4K DLSS maximum settings, game is just crap. It needs to be re-optimized. Devs need to be yelled at. You need to, grab your pitchforks.
You're not.
So what we are seeing right now in DLSS, this is actually going to be the highest you'll see as far as wattage. As you can see, the wattage is about 150, 160 watts right now. And temps look good. Temps are about in the 60s. VRAM temp is in 60 Celsius as well.
You're not.
Game clock is nearing, its theoretical peak. Usually when it runs a lot of ray tracing and anything else, you'll get around 2600, 2700 maybe on the and CPU temp is looking good as well. CPU is actually running pretty high. It's 63% right now, but that temperature is really good. So just continuing on.
How does it feel to be the one bound and helpless, waiting to die?
Yep. So just starting off without having to get you up to the 500 watt range, I'll show you that right now. If I go into
for that, you'll need to stay alive.
MSI Afterburner and I hit default, which is this right here. Well, yeah, see, what you're going to see is you're basically at around the same frame rate, but now you've went up into 530, 540, 550. And if this was using path tracing, you'd be closer to 600. And as you can see, GPU temperatures went up as well. Now I'm at 68, 69, 70 Celsius. VRAM temp spiked up by 4 degrees Celsius. So you can really save yourself a lot of heat and uncomfort if you just select your Undervolt settings. And as you can see here, I lost nothing in performance. It's still 59 frames a second in this scene right here. And GPU power went down to, about 100 watts. So that's amazing. And look at the GPU temperatures going back down. 63, 62. VRAM temps going down to 62. You don't want to be playing games in a warm climate with your computer blasting hot air right at you. That's nasty. Okay? It's just uncomfortable. Okay, so it gets even better than this. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, what we're going to do is go into settings. I think the game control is working. Okay, great. Go into settings, and we're going to go into graphics. So now from here, what we are going to do is start using DLSS. Once you start using DLSS, your power consumption is actually going to drop even more. So 62 frames per second, 59, 60 frames per second is okay in this game. It's not my idea of smoothness. I can't get the latency right now, but yeah, I mean, you need a heavy dose of motion blur to distract you from your ability to see the frames. So yeah, 60 frames per second, that's just our baseline. So let's kick it up with DLSS. Okay, and I'm not going to be using the DLSS quality preset, and as you can see, it went from 60 to 90. What I do like about this game is you can actually see the impact of your settings in the menu. The menu is, I think, using the same pipeline as the game engine is when you're doing gameplay, so that's great. You can see everything from right here. So we're using DLSS. Frame gen is still going to be off. And yeah, so now we're at 84 frames per second, but take a look at our wattage. Our wattage went down from around 420 to now 360 watts on average. You're getting a much smoother frame rate. I can't see any artifacts. You know, honestly, I believe quality preset on 4K is nigh free performance. So yeah, I don't see any kind of shimmering or anything else like that with the grass. I'm just walking around. Here looks great. No weird ghosting or anything else like that. And so now we're, you know, at 360 watts. Power temps went down under 70, so your room is going to be even cooler at this point. And so what I'm going to do is go down to balanced and the graphic settings here. So we're going to use DLSS balanced. And to me, DLSS balanced is the limit to my comfortability as far as graphic settings. It's still getting around the same frame rate. So in some games, it might not even be worth it to go down to balanced if you're getting already good performance metrics at quality. I am starting to see a little bit of effects on the boardwalk here as I'm walking down, and they were a little bit less noticeable at the quality preset. So what we'll do is we'll stick to quality. And okay, yeah, okay, it's still there a little bit, but really not too much of a noticeable difference. Okay, so now at this point, so we're doing good. So what we're going to do is use frame gen to kick in the 2x multiplier just to get to your frame rate limit. Okay, and now we just activated frame gen, so we are getting around the same wattage usage right now. We're at 137 frames per second, and everything is looking good as far as temps and as far as GPU power, still in the 360s. This is great. If you want to take it down even further, what you can do, and you know, this is just if you want to be nitpicky with your stuff here, you can either do a frame rate cap, or you can just try to get to 3x on frame gen, or just use DLSS balanced. So if you use DLSS balanced, I'm going to be at my frame rate cap. Well, it's a little bit below it, but in different scenes I'll be at the frame rate cap, and then you can even edge out a little bit more temperatures and GPU wattage savings. So I'm just walking around right now, and I might not be able to get to it unless I use 3x frame gen, which I don't really want to use. I think for 3x frame gen, because basically for my setup, 3x frame gen is going to put my base frame rate at 50 to get it to or 55, 50, 53 around there to get it to 160 hertz. So, you know, you start to notice the difference in input lag. But just walking around here, I don't notice any input lag as far as going from native all the way up to where I'm at now. So this is good, and I can play like this for, you know, usually I'll play for like 2 to 3 hours or something. And, you know, just using 350 watts on a very high quality and Unreal Engine 5 game, that's a win. GPU temps are really cool. CPU power is surprisingly high, but fine. You know, it is what it is. But on a system like this, look, you're looking at what, GPU 4, let's say it's 360, CPU 100, so that's 460. Your case and your fans, that's another 100, that's 560. So using maybe 560 watts at this type of setting, that's only half of the capacity of a 1000 watt PSU. So you really have a lot of room as far as, you know, temperature and power consumption at this level. And the other thing to remember is how much power is going through the 12V2X6 cable or the 12 VHPWR cable is going to be this: wattage divided by volts equals amps. Amps divided by 6 pins is how much power is going through each pin. So if you look at this right here, so let's say you're gaming at this level, 350 watts, so let's just call it that. 350 watts divided by 12 volts, that equals 29.16 amps. Divide 29.16 amps by 6 power pins. That's 4.8 to 4.9 amps going through each pin. And these pins can handle up to 9 watts. So you're using half of the capacity of the 12V2X6 cable. That's a win. Much less chance of, you know, some freak accident happening where one of the pins, it has an increased resistance so that the other pins have to compensate for the amperage, because all the amps need to make it to the GPU, and it's either going to make it through 1 pin or 6 pins. There's nothing you can do to stop that. So this to me is your best case scenario. Also another vote of confidence for Cable Mod and Mod DIY for these type of connectors. The one that I have is called the Mod Mesh, and they report no melting cables. So that's another good vote of confidence. Anyways, just wanted to go over my efficiency settings for gameplay using the settings that you can see here on the top. That's 0.925 millivolts at 2820 megahertz, 2000 VRAM. And without that further ado, peace. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. And I'll see you guys in the next one.